grades right here. What's your name? You look scared. You're like,
My name's Addison.
Addison. And where you from, Addison?
Not Addison, I'm from Portage.
That could have been everything. Addison from Addison. You a real missed opportunity here. Like, your mom could have just ran over and had the baby. You know what I mean? You live here, though. No, you live in Portage still. Now, it's Portage. We like it? All right, what's your question, Addison?
So, I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. That's my gun. That is what... Before you go any further, can we talk about teachers in America? This is... Talk about a dangerous profession. This is wild. And not just because of the blah, 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 blah. Because that is... What grade do you teach? Third grade. Okay, third grade is... That's not the worst. Because the third graders are like, there's still some innocence in there. You know what I mean? I have a theory. I have a ranking system for kids and what grade is the absolute worst to experience. Okay? Because in terms of who are the worst people in the world, for me it's like domestic terrorists, people who beat their partners, and then right under that is fucking 7th graders. These demons, I don't know what is happening in the body of a fucking 7th grader, but they are not meant for this planet. If we're gonna send anyone to the aliens, send all the 7th graders, and we'll take them back in 9th grade because these kids are horrible. But yes, any 7th graders here? Cause fuck you. I don't like it. I don't like 7th graders. Rough year for me. And I was fucking 6'2". I was the scariest one, and I was afraid of all of them. What's your question about being a teacher?
Okay, so...
Because actually, okay, I'm sorry, I can't stop that. I actually went to, this fun fact, I dropped out of college, but I did 3 years, and I was studying theater education. So I was almost a drama teacher at your child's school. It could have been me, Mr. Caldwell. All right, kids, I have written Stonewall the musical. Prepare. I'm gonna write Montgomery Brawl the musical. That's what I'm gonna write. Like, Terrence, I'm casting you as the kid with the chair. Jeff, you're all the white people. Jeff will do it with a smile. Addison, sorry, your question, yes.
The students ask me lots of questions, and I'm wondering if...
Am I a teacher?
If a student asks me, like, who are drag queens, or, like, what do drag queens do, what do you suggest I say?
Okay, thank you for asking that question. So what I don't know if y'all heard, the question was, if my students ask me, who's a drag queen, what's a drag queen do, what should I say? Okay, so there's recently some laws in Texas and Tennessee, specifically in Texas, that was trying to make sure that kids cannot see drag shows, right? And my first thought was like, man, like these fuckers. And then I was like, let's hear them out. Not because I think drag is dangerous to kids, but because kids are dangerous to drag queens. They are unsanitized, and children will ask you the meanest questions, completely unprovoked. I have had a kid straight up, by the way, I wanted to let you all know, like, when I'm not in drag, I mean, I'm like a little feminine, but like I still look like you know what people would think was like a cisgender man, even though I'm non-binary. But it's giving butch. You know what I mean? And a child once walked up to me in the airport, eating a bag of candy, and literally said, "How long have you been pregnant?" I was like, I mean, I did get the loaded baked potato, but damn, Aiden, that was cold as hell. Because kids do ask you crazy questions. A kid will just straight up ask you, why are you fat? They will just say, why are you fat? And you're like, oh, wow, that's a lot. There's a lot going on with that question, and I'm not going to answer it today. One time when I used to also do children's theater. Before I did drag, I did children's theater for a lot of different companies. And we used to do this one where we would teach kids how not to get bullied. The whole thing was like how not to get bullied when you're dealing with a bully. So one of the ones we taught was say what you see, say what you want, say how you feel. No, say what you see, say how you feel, say what you want, and then to walk away and keep yourself safe. So say what you see. You're making fun of me. Say how you feel. I don't like that. Say what you want. I want you to stop. And then you walk away, keep yourself safe. And then this girl did, and we practiced it. I do like a little bully scenario with the kids. I like bully them, and then the kids. And that was they didn't even ask me to do that. I just did that for fun. And then this little girl did a good job, and I was in a town called Minnesota City, Minnesota. Not a city. I don't know if any of you guys know this, but Minnesota City has a population of roughly 200 people. And I think they're all related. Okay. So the little girl does a good. There are also 4 classrooms in the entire. The whole school is 4 classes. Like K through 3 is 1 class. You have the same teacher for 4 years. I need to go back to school for 4 years, and then you do that again in 4 chunks. It's wild, right? This little girl does a good job, and they've never seen a black person. Some of these kids have never seen a black person. I don't think they've seen a person who doesn't live in the town. So I was in the town, and this is like 2005, 2004, and I walked in, and one of the kids comes up and goes, "You look just like Lil Jon." I had long hair at the time, and I said, I don't feel like I do. Aiden. I don't feel like I do. And he goes, no, you look just like Lil Jon. Don't you? And then he started calling his friends over. I'm an adult getting bullied in a class where I teach you how not to get bullied. I am rendered defenseless, and I am the authority figure in the room. It was wild. So this little girl, she does a good job, and I go, great job, high five. And she looks at my hand, and she jumps back. And she goes, ah! And I said, what? She goes, your hands are dirty. I said, and I'm getting bullied in the class. And this girl is like knee high, maybe the size of this stool. It's like Mike Sully versus Boo. She said Boo's a sassy little bitch. And I said, my hand's not dirty. I'm black. And my hand is the inside of my hand is darker than your hand. And then she goes, ew. And she goes and sits down. I hate children. Oh, I hate kids. I hate them. I hate them. And I will answer your question. Because, so, another children's theater I worked for years ago. This was one of the wildest. This was when I was in New York City. I worked for this company that would like teach. It was educational about the body. It was like they would teach you about like specifically about illnesses and diseases in the body. So it'd be like, all right, we're gonna teach the kids about diabetes. And someone come up and be like, I'm insulin. And then else would be like, I'm sugar, blood sugar, whatever. I don't know. They're all this shit. Obviously, I wasn't paying attention. I was in the play about epilepsy. I was in the epilepsy play. We would teach kids about. We'd do these big school-wide assemblies on the gym floor about epilepsy. But the company was based out of New Zealand. This is a true story. The company was based out of New Zealand. So all the actors who had lines were all Kiwis. They all had New Zealand accents. So on this day in Connecticut, like maybe 2009, 2010, maybe 2012, this actor comes out and he goes, all right, children, how are you all today? And they're like, woo! He goes, all right, today we're going to be learning about epilepsy. Can you all sigh? Can you all sigh? Epilepsy. Good job. Now, today he does this entire show. Now, I'm thinking to myself, these kids have probably never heard this word in their lives. They have never heard the word epilepsy once in their life. This is their first time hearing it. And also, how long can you go without hearing the word again? How old were those kids one day when they realized? Because at the end of the show, they're all right, kids. Does anyone here have any questions? Does anyone here have any questions? And one girl goes, if you have epilepsy, can you play video games? Great question, fantastic question. Yes, if you had epilepsy. So I was thinking to myself, like, were these kids one day, like, in their 20s at a job, and then like the lights were flashing, and so I go, man, they didn't give. It's kind of weird they didn't give an epilepsy one. And the girl the other day went with said, I'm sorry. Did you just say epilepsy? If your kids ask you what a drag queen is and what a drag queen does, how do you answer? You know, I think there's this weird notion that like, okay, I mean, kids are kids, you know what I mean? But they're not dumb. Here's a weird thing. You know what's interesting? As you can tell by the little girl who took me down in a room full of kids, they're quite smart. But the thing about kids is, and I found this out, did you know that like I'm probably, some scientists are gonna correct me on the internet. I can read the comments right now. It's funny actually. But like your IQ and like your level of comprehension doesn't really change that much as you get older. So, but you just learn more, you just retain more knowledge and more information. So essentially, smart kids are just smart adults. And then like dumb kids are just dumb adults. You know what I mean? So if you have a power of comprehension, because kids actually get it really easily. I mean, you think if you can tell a kid, hey guys, this is Tom Holland. He dresses up like Spider-Man. Tom Holland can shoot webs from his wrist. He can swing from buildings and he's really strong, but he's not really Spider-Man. He's actually a British twink. In real life, there is very little stopping him from being Spider-Man or a Sean Cody model. You know what I mean? That was for the gays. Can I get a glass of water? So I think you can just tell the kids, like, you know, a drag queen is entertaining, because my definition of drag is this. Someone who dresses up and blurs the gender line to create art. They could be dancing, it could be comedy, it could be music, it could be whatever Monet's doing. Girl, soak what up? And the kids will get it. Like, oh yeah, it's just blurring gender. I mean, if they can watch the Wiggles, if they can watch, I've watched kids. Have you ever played Pokemon cards? I grew up like watching. First of all, I chose Yu-Gi-Oh. That was a losing battle. I was like, no, y'all don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna come out on top. It did not. Yu-Gi-Oh did not have the global appeal that Pokemon had, okay? There's no Yu-Gi-Oh Go on your phone. But these games, these kids play Dungeons and Dragons. You ever tried to sit down and do the math that your kids are doing today? That shit, thank you very much. That shit is incredibly difficult. So if a kid can understand, if a middle schooler can understand the quadratic equation, if we are forcing kids to sit down and learn the entire times table, 1 through 12, wrote, then I think they can understand that a drag queen just dresses up and has a little fun on stage, you know? But do not bring your kids to my show! I love the idea that conservatives think that we're just dying to have their kids at our show. Bitch, what, you gonna tip me in Robux? Bitch, I give this new Fortnite skin. Get your little fucking shit. Open your Venmo, little nigga. That's what I'm talking about, honey. All right, whoever has the question.